today is Inauguration Day. Festivities kicked off over the weekend. On the ground in Washington, D.C. is co-chairman of the Illinois Republican Party, Aaron Delmar. He's a suburbanite here in the Chicago area. Aaron, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so I want to start with the plan for today. No inauguration attendees, citizens, civilians are going to be allowed on the Capitol Mall. It is all locked up. So tell us what the plan is for most people who have come to Washington to see this inauguration.
So they've shifted now, and we're having everything at the Capital One Arena, the same place that they hosted the rally yesterday. So President Trump is going to be inaugurated in the Rotunda with a very small group of congressmen, senators, family, and international delegates, and then we're going to move that over to the Capital One Arena. There's a line right now, probably 15,000 people, which is really challenging because it only fits 20,000 people in the arena. So they're out there braving the cold. And then there's going to be a lot of other events. A lot of congressmen are having smaller, more intimate events at different locations across Washington, D.C., at some of the offices. So everyone's kind of broken up. It's a little bit of disheartening because we wanted to have that experience at the mall, but nobody is going to be out in the cold for 5 hours watching it. So there is a little bit of excitement about having it indoors.
What has security been like so far? I understand that you attended the rally last night at Capital One Arena. Tell me about that.
Yeah, security has been incredibly forceful, not only at the Capital One Arena, but all across Washington, D.C. They've been having road closures. They've been intermittent stopping to put work up and having everything prepared, the gates like you see on TV right now, for the Capitol event and for the parade that's taking place. And with so many foreign dignitaries coming in from all over the world, traffic has been pretty challenging. But there's a lot of helicopters going across. Everyone feels very safe and secure. There were some concerns early on there might be some sort of terrorist attack. None of that has come to fruition. So we're excited to keep on celebrating, and everyone's in very high spirits.
Aaron, how do you think the start of this Trump term is different from 2016?
I think it's a lot different because he has a plan now. The first time he got inaugurated in 2017, it was he really didn't understand the inner workings of Washington. I think you can see by the preparations that they've been doing with getting their nominees appointed and getting them through confirmation hearings, some of the executive orders that he's preparing to pass on day one. I think we're going to see a lot of those today. And some of the conversations I've been having with other delegates and elected officials, they're saying there could be up to 200 executive orders signed today after the inauguration. Even prior to him going to the Capital One Arena, he's starting to get ready to dispatch a lot of ICE to all different cities that they're expecting to have starting tomorrow. So I think he wants to come out with a big bang, and I think it's going to be very interesting and challenging to see how this actually takes place.
And last question for you, and I want to hopscotch off the comment you made there about the ICE agents. At the top of the president-elect's agenda is sending hundreds of ICE agents to Chicago. What is the Illinois GOP party's stance on that action?
Well, right now we're seeing how they're going to be executing and implementing that strategy. If they're going to be taking out, the bad actors, people that are being involved in drugs, human trafficking, domestic issues, gang membership affiliations, I think that's something that probably needs to happen. If they're going to be going after everyday citizens that have built a life here over 10, 20 years that are a value to our community, I think there'll be a lot of pushback regarding that. From everything that we've seen Tom Homan saying, he's going for the bad actors. And so we're going to hold them accountable to make sure that that's taking place.
Aaron Delmar joining us live from Washington, D.C. this morning. Thanks, Aaron, and have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Shalom, Yasharallah, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Shalom, Yahweh, Shabbat, Hashem, Racha, Kodash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, wherever you may be. Shalom, Yasharallah, Shalom. All right, so back into another current state. This should be super quick. Current state with commentary. Just a few things I want to talk about super briefly. Probably a few scriptures as well, which I'll be placing it all in, the clips. So the first thing, which I'm not going to talk much about, but this so-called border crisis. A lot of people are worried. Okay. What's going to be, the game. I mean, not exactly the game plan. They know what the game plan is, but how exactly is this going to be carried out? All right. So, different individuals are worried over this so-called border crisis. And we know that the majority numbers of these individuals that came in a huge influx over the Biden administration, the Darien Gap from New York, from Cali, from Canada, and Texas, and all these different areas. All right. The majority numbers that were coming into the American borders, all right, were Israelites. All right. Men, women, and children and babies. All right. Majority of them were Israelites. All right. Now, there was others that came over, but, that's not the point of the topic right now. We're focusing on the Israelites. So a lot of people are worried about what's going to be the deal with Trump and his orders or whatever concerning the borders. All right. And then Trump, in one of his speeches, I can't remember exactly what he was saying. I probably should have rewatched it, but I was ready to hit play. But I know he's pretty much saying that, things start now or begin now. And this is the same thing similar to a earlier speech that he gave. All right, talking about, pretty much making America great again. And it's not going to be, as a matter of fact, let me get something real quick. Actually, we can probably get that Jeremiah 51. I'll get it in a second. Let me see if I can grab this real quick. I think what I'm looking for is in 14. Okay, yep. Revelation 14, I guess we'll start at 6. It says, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of the heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear the Most High, all right, fear God the highest, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel," it's the point verse, saying, "Babylon is fallen, that great city." And this is talking about America, "because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." All right. It says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image," all right, which is the way of America. All right. To just sum it up, really, if you're in line with any of their agendas and so on and so forth, all right, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, which goes into his devices, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High power, all right, God the highest, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, his righteous anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. All right. So that's the end game for Babylon the Great, to be turned into a lake of fire, and those that follow this place, all right, to be melted down with it. Okay. Yes, as in the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. All right, so yeah, they're on the same talk, which actually leads us. I was going to get that one last, but I guess we mentioned it now. We get the other talking point last. Leads us to the other thing, all right, with him talking about he wants to sign the executive order. He mentioned also Denali, which I didn't even know was renamed, but he wants to rename it back into Mount McKinley after President McKinley, which President McKinley, the 25th president of the United States, as the lady was saying, was an expansionist president. What's an expansionist? Let me see if I get this. Here we go. Expansionist. It says, related to increasing the amount of land ruled by a country or the business done by a company. So it's very interesting that he wants to rename this back to or to Mount McKinley, who was, after President McKinley, who was an expansionist president, and that's what expansionist goes into. So it's really bigger than just naming that. But my point that I'm making here is they're taking the steps, right? Just like these devils about to show their horns. They're taking the steps, just like ancient Rome would do. They would just glide over and conquer, right? And they had a very we'll say deep rulership, all right? Because at the time when the Roman Empire was in power, you didn't want to be their enemies, man, okay? And so this is about, when they talk about making America great again, that's what it's all about. He wants to rename into the Gulf of America and rename that into Mount McKinley, because it's about what? Expanding, because they are the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. So they're taking the same steps as to the Roman Empire, man. You can't make it up, because the Roman Empire in the scriptures represented the iron legs. and the iron mixed with miry clay are where we are now, America, NATO, EU. All right, it's pretty much conglomeration. And so they're following after the ancient Roman Empire. They're trying to conquer and expand. But how is it going to be this time? Through their digital system, the digital means. They want to conquer, all right? Like it says in Habakkuk 2, let's grab that real quick. Heapeth unto himself all people, right? How are they going to do that? Here it is. How are they going to heap to themselves all people? They're going to issue a digital system and a microchip for everybody. Habakkuk 2, and let's get 4. Can't skip that one. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, that's Esau Edom, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. You see? And that's what he wants to do, issue his digital system and Michael see up everybody. And then goes on to say, shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that word thick clay in the Hebrew is ibat yat, which goes into having debt. And they want to reset the clock, all right? Supposedly reset everybody's debt so they can get them online with the system, which is the UBI, the social credit scoring system, and that will all be inside your micro C-HIP or in line with that system, which gives them full autonomy over every aspect of your life, right? And so they're talking about, and what's this expansion? Let me type that in, because I believe it only comes up in one place. There it is right there. Enterprise. Job 5:12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty. Okay? It says, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Matter of fact, let's pull it up in the blue real quick. I said it was going to be short. It's going to be short as possible, but it's whatever the Spirit allows. It was Job 5, right? I'm asking like, come on, Job 5. All right, he disappointed the devices of the crafty. Let's get the word crafty. Irawum. Okay, it says subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. Crafty, shrewd, sensible, prudent. All right, which goes back to the word Iram. Okay, and we constantly, well, not constantly, but we often bring this out from time to time when we go back to Genesis and pull up the serpent, because this is aligned with them, the crafty devils, man. To be subtle, be shrewd, be crafty, beware, take crafty counsel, be prudent. All right, just like a serpent, man. You see, that's who they are. And if we get devices, and like it says in Corinthians, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right, Mahashaba, I guess, fault, device. Look, his plan, his purpose, what's the invention right now? His digital system and his micro C-HIP and all the other digital technologies. You see, his device, his plan, his purpose, his invention, and it comes from his wicked, evil thoughts, because he has the time, the money, and the means to be able to do these things. All right, it says knowledge shall increase. And scripture speak about how they accomplish a diligent search, how they're wiser than Daniel. All those things go in line with Esau Edom, man. All right. You see, it's the same thing here. Plan, devise. See? So what's their enterprise? It's the new world order, like we were just talking about. All right? Being expansionist. They want to take over the earth. They want to call themselves I am, like it says in 2 Thessalonians 2, Isaiah 14. Okay? Maybe some other places I can't think of right now. But I know those two definitely. Wisdom, sound knowledge, success, sound or efficient wisdom, abiding success. Sound or efficient wisdom, abiding success of the effect of sound wisdom. And their wisdom is what? On the left-hand side, man. You see? Everything is through their digital technology. They want to call themselves I am through digital means. They want to take control of the earth and live forever. Find a way to make themselves live forever. And they don't really care about everybody else. They can keep living and dying and living and dying and living and dying and living and dying. They just want to live forever and rule the earth in wickedness. Where everybody's a freaking robot. People aren't even real. Uploading people's consciousness into some AI robot or something like that. It has lifelike movements, but it's got the consciousness of some human that lived, 50 years ago. Peace devils, man. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Look, check this out. I was going to stop when it says they meet with darkness in the daytime. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. Okay? And that's ultimately what we want to be preserved from Esau, Edom. All right, but real quick, because I mentioned this, because I want to, keep chopping it up, but I want to keep it short as possible, because I haven't really had a chance to really look at any news, which is what I was doing. I just gathered those few here, and I'm going to probably go back and look at some more news there. But we got to get this again. So it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So whatever he's talking about, moving forward, everything starts now. He's lying to the people. Now, in a sense, he's telling the truth, because what's about to happen is these banking families are about to, start to put the crunch on everybody. And these American people, especially these Edomites, they're going to find out, hey, you're in that crunch. Okay? They don't care about you, even though you're their own people. They don't care about you either. We read that the other day in Ecclesiasticus. All right? If he envy himself, to whom will he do good? Roughly paraphrasing. Right? So what were you Israelites? Were they sworn enemy from the belly? They're about to move on their final plan soon come, man. However the Lord is going to roll this thing out. He's about to allow the devil to show his horns and do his thing in this earth, because those things have to happen before salvation comes. All right? It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. All right? And yeah, as a matter of fact, let me get one more. Let me get Revelation 18. Let's hit just one. As a matter of fact, let's get this one down here. So it says, let's probably get, let's get that one. Yep, matter of fact, let's get 20:21. Revelation 18:20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So you got these people thinking that things about to get better, or things about to change. Oh, he's going to do this, Trump's going to do that, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And you've been lied to, all right? And no one's lied to you, then you're still fooling yourself by thinking that way. The end game for America is destruction by nuclear fire, all right? That's the end game for this place. Whatever people think is about to get better, they're not lying. It is about to get better for the elites, okay? And the few that are protected by their enterprise. Other than that, for everyone else, it's about to get worse and worse and worse and worse, because we are at the beginning entrances of Jacob's trouble, man. And those that are not paying attention and hearing the mouths of the prophets, all right, and taking this for a joke, you're going to get hit the hardest, because the prophets got to all the hopefully like remnant, we're going to get hit hard too. It's not going to be a cakewalk for us, but we're looking for that hedge of protection from the Heavenly Father. We're looking for that tawah. But for everybody else, all right, who's not with the plan of the Lord, all right, who's not with the will of the Lord, all right, they're going to get hit and they're going to get crushed, man. Okay. We can stop right there. I could probably read a couple more. We can stop right there. Oh, but yeah, because we mentioned that, going back to that topic, President McKinley and all that, Mount McKinley renaming that. Okay, because he was supposed to be an expansionist president, which is going to expanding your land. Well, what land? What do you mean? Right? He's talking about not being taken advantage of anymore, and all this fancy speech. Okay, but what are you guys really planning? So that's what they're not telling the people. They're clapping it up and stuff like that. And what was funny? The people barely really got cheerful when he talked about the system. Right? They don't give a damn about the system, because they're not wrapped up in the system. It's mostly Israelites. All right, or at least it was for Israelites. Those people don't give a damn about the system. They want to hear about everything else. I thought that was very interesting. It's because, of course, they clap. But you notice, like, you go back and watch it, or I believe it's in this clip, one of these clips I have, they weren't too fancy about the when he mentioned the system itself, because they don't give a damn. They're not wrapped up in the system. They want to hear about the other things you're talking about. All right. So, they are looking to expand their territory. They're looking to take over the whole earth. That is their enterprise, all right, these banking families. Now, the last thing that people are talking about is, which is funny because this guy's funny and I hate his effing voice, right? This dude, Elon Musk, where they saying he was doing this Nazi-like salute. I believe I had that clip for you. But yeah, that's very interesting. I haven't really looked into that one. I saw the clip and I was like, that is kind of interesting, but we already know what he's about. And he recently just changed his name to Kekis Maximus on X or whatever the platform it was. Okay, which we know about that. All right, going into laughing out loud, also going further back to, Egyptian, an Egyptian god or whatever. And we know that the Edomites took over Egypt. Okay. So, I mean, this thing is a game to these people right in the Americans' faces, man. And they have no knowledge of what's going on. All right. But so, we're actually highly, highly blessed, or at least favorite, for now, to have this truth, because we still got to endure into the end. Right. He that endureth into the end, the same shall be saved. But yeah, that's the last thing I want to speak about. Elon Musk was doing this Nazi-like salute that they were saying about. So maybe there's something else behind that. But we know, even if there's nothing, we know what this guy's about. All right. He's been talking openly about the Roman Empire. Okay. And so, I probably shouldn't have said the word, but y'all know what I mean. I usually say little mustaches. So if no one's ever heard me, we talk about the propeller hats. All right. Well, I call them out. I've been calling them out lately. But when I say that the 4-letter N word, I usually say the little mustaches. But you get it, man. I said it now. But yeah, you can watch the clip. I'll let you get on with the news. It was just a few clips there. So, we'll probably, hopefully get something else later, some world news. All right, so leave it at that, Sean.
This just was broken by Caroline Leavitt, who's going to be the incoming spokesperson for Trump, with a big change right here. Go ahead, Hallie, I'll let you break that news.
She just confirmed to us, too, that one of the day one executive actions that President-elect Trump will take is renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and renaming Denali, in Alaska, of course, Mount McKinley. Now,
its former name.
Exactly. Remember, former President Obama renamed it in 2015, Denali. There's some question marks and some caveats here. First, on the Gulf of Mexico, international waters, not clear he does have the authority to rename it. On Denali and Mount McKinley, listen, remember, McKinley was an expansionist president, which perhaps fits with some of the things that Donald Trump has said he wants to do when he talks about things like Greenland and the Panama Canal.
Well, if President Obama could change McKinley to Denali, right, I suppose Trump can say, I can change it back.
Let's check in with the Alaska delegation to see how they feel about it. Senator Lisa Murkowski, for example, who would be opposed, previously had suggested to renaming it. But this is an example of the way that Donald Trump is coming into office looking to flex that muscle, looking to show that he is putting his stamp on government and that he is a force to be reckoned with.
Donald J. Trump is now officially the 47th president of the United States. Thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of the CBS 6 News at noon on this Inauguration Day 2025. I'm Cheryl Miller. The new president, who was also the country's 45th president, made several promises during his inaugural address and is expected to take numerous executive actions today. CBS's Jared Hill reports from Capitol Hill.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump took the oath of office Monday, becoming the first president since Grover Cleveland in 1893 to serve 2 non-consecutive terms.
James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
Shortly before that, J.D. Vance was sworn in as Vice President of the United States. Former Presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama all turned out for the historic event, as did outgoing President Joe Biden, who had tea at the White House with Trump.
The golden age of America begins right now.
In his inaugural address, Trump promised to begin the complete restoration of America and revolution of common sense. By the end of the day, Trump is expected to sign some 200 executive actions, including several on his key issue of immigration.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
For the first time since Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in 1985, the swearing-in ceremony was moved inside of the Capitol building because of the dangerously cold temperatures outside. Despite the cold, crowds of Trump supporters gathered before dawn outside of Capital One Arena, where a reimagined inaugural viewing and parade is being held.
One thing about him is I know what he wants to do. He doesn't think one thing and do something behind closed doors. You know what to expect from him.
A new CBS News poll shows 60% of Americans are optimistic about the next 4 years. That's higher than Trump's first term in office. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Trump's border czar Tom Homan says he's ready for the task at hand, finding and detaining millions of undocumented immigrants.
On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign a historic slate of executive orders to close our border to illegal aliens and stop the invasion of our country. And on that same day, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
So we thought maybe if we prosecute people, they'll stop coming.
Tom Homan is the incoming border czar. He says the Trump administration will concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats in its plan for mass deportation starting on day one.
We would love to work in local jails, but sanctuary cities won't allow us into those jails. It's much easier to arrest a public safety threat and the safety and security of public jail than out in the street.
The administration detailing plans to build tent structures to hold thousands of migrants at any given time.
We need at least 100,000 beds, but I'm not going to put a limit on it. I'm telling the minimum we need 100,000 beds because we got a big population to look for.
The operation would detain families and give undocumented parents the choice of leaving children born in the United States behind or being deported with them. Homan told the Washington Post and NBC that he plans to bring back raids on businesses where immigrants may be working.
I'm not going to forecast what we're doing and where we're doing it, but you can count on worksite enforcement coming back.
And vowing to close Panama's Darien Gap, a dangerous but critical artery for those migrating to the U.S.
It needs to happen. We'll save thousands of lives.
The mass deportation plan will cost roughly 10 times ICE's annual budget.
$86 billion is a start. We need at least that to do this operation. We got to buy beds. We got to have we got to do removal flights and ground transportation and medical care.
Simone D'Alba, WUSA 9. Now, if Tom Homan sounds familiar, you might remember him from the Trump administration's first term. He oversaw the zero-tolerance policy that separated some 4,000 children from their parents. Well, this time, he says the new enforcement plan will focus on deporting families together. But since the government cannot remove children who are U.S. citizens, it essentially would be left up to the parents to make the decision of whether or not to separate. And Leslie Zoe, this is something that we are going to be actively navigating. Now that we know President Trump has declared a national emergency at the southern border, we saw this coming, we were warned. It's going to be, now we watch how they execute it. Right. Is cruelty going to be a theme here? We've seen that in the past, again, with the separations, the zero tolerance policies. Will that be incorporated this time around? Because I think backlash would be strong if cruelty does remain a theme
and
moving
also
forward.
What Congress has to say about it as well, what role they play the Supreme Court moving forward. So like you said, he's making all these points today, but we'll see how this all plays out.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before.
Thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.